You can actually smell the desperation in a room when a legacy is dying. It smells like expensive cologne mixed with fear. Walking back into the headquarters of Lumiere Media after 7 years felt less like a homecoming and more like visiting a museum of my own trauma. My father and stepmother sat at the head of the polished obsidian table, looking at me with the same disdain they had when they fired me for lacking the visionary gene. They didn't invite me here to catch up. They needed my signature on a document waiving my rights to the family trust, so they could sell the company to a mysterious conglomerate and save their own skins. My stepmother slid the papers across the table without even making eye contact. She told me to sign quickly because they were expecting the representatives from Nexus Global, the acquiring firm, to arrive any minute. She emphasized that these were serious people, not failed artists like me, and I needed to be invisible when they walked in. I picked up the pen, not to sign, but to tap it rhythmically against the glass table. The sound echoed in the silent, tense room. I watched them check their watches, sweating, terrified of this unknown buyer who held their fate in their hands. They had spent weeks speculating about the CEO of Nexus Global. Rumors said she was a shark, a ruthless operator who stripped failing luxury brands for parts. They were terrified she would dissolve the board and erase their names from the masthead. My father nervously adjusted his tie and muttered that he hoped the CEO would respect the family legacy. I stopped tapping the pen. I looked him dead in the eye and told him that Nexus Global doesn't buy legacies, it buys potential. And frankly, this room was empty of it. He exploded. He stood up, red-faced, and shouted that I had no idea how business worked, and that I should get out before the adults arrived. That was the moment. The heavy double doors swung open, and the frantic assistant rushed in. But she didn't announce a new guest. She looked at me, pale as a sheet, and bowed her head. She handed me the finalized acquisition contracts. The silence that followed was heavy enough to crush bones. I didn't have to say a word. I just opened the folder, which bore my signature stamp as the founder and CEO of Nexus Global. My father sank back into his chair, the blood draining from his face as the realization hit him like a physical blow. The shark they were terrified of, the one they were praying would save them, was the same daughter they had thrown out like trash 7 years ago. I didn't fire them on the spot. That would be too emotional. I simply told them that the restructuring begins tomorrow, and under my leadership, we value talent over blood. Thank you for listening. Truly, if this story touched you, I'd love for you to like and subscribe for more stories about turning rejection into an empire.